Hope everybody's doing well, feeling fantastic and excellent spirits. I know a little bit of a late start. It's 9:43. I'm usually on here at 9:30. Yeah, give or take a minute or two. But I just had to make sure I'd set up prior to. And yeah, I didn't want to do this on the back end. A little bit of a late start. Something I couldn't control this morning. If I did, I would have been here at 9:30. So my apologies again for the tardiness. But I'm here now, ready to get started on another podcast here as we are now, think about it, 3 weeks from Christmas and 4 weeks until New Year's Day, 2026. That's how fast this time is going. I mean, think about it. Last week at this time was Thanksgiving, and that seemed like literally 5 minutes ago. So for yours truly, a big month, as you heard, if you watched the live stream yesterday, right here on YouTube, I am emancipated, free at last, like I mentioned, the old Martin Luther King, where I was able to get out of jury duty. If that was the case, I'd be in jury duty right now if the case didn't settle there on Tuesday. So it's just great to be in the friendly confines, in the apartment, getting ready to produce again. I also need to cut my hair, which I will do. So when you see me on Monday, it's going to be fresh and looking very low. But let's get ready for another podcast today. And to me, the theme for this one, the NFL is going to have actually a pretty big Week 14. Starting off with the game tonight, Dallas at Detroit, which is technically a playoff game for the Lions. They need to, in the worst way, win this game. They lose this game, I think they're not going to make the playoffs. Because the following week, they had to go to LA to play the Rams. They still have to play the Vikings and Bears on the road to close out the season. And as I've said a million times, and I'll say it 1,000,001, divisional games on the road, I don't care how bad the teams are. In this case, the Bears obviously are pretty good, but those are always tricky games. Then they host the Steelers in between all that. So this is a very trying time for this team, and they need this one tonight in the worst way. Whereas Dallas, a lot of people think that, oh, well, if they run the table or if they get to 10 wins, they should get in the postseason. I understand they got that tie early in the year against Green Bay, but 10, I don't know if that's going to cut it, considering that San Francisco right now at the 7th seed in the NFC, they have 9 wins. So if they get 2 more wins under their belt, which you think they will, that makes them 11, where the Cowboys, you think they're going to lose one game along the way. I don't think they're going to win 5 in a row. When you think about it, they've actually won 3 in a row now. So are they going to close the year winning 8 straight games? I don't think so. So to me, even if the Cowboys lose tonight, it's not a death knell, where to me, I think for the Lions it will be. Because remember, they're not going to win a division at this point. They're already 2 games behind the Bears. And although they had the 1 win against them early this year, but they can't afford to lose anymore. Obviously, if they lose tonight, you can forget about the division. That's number one. And number two, the other thing is that with the wild card, as I just mentioned, with the wins, San Francisco has 9. Detroit has 7. They lose tonight, forget about it. And San Francisco has a bye this week. So that's why tonight's game is imperative. But the other games of note, you have Indianapolis at Jacksonville, which Indy right now, they are skidding into the oblivion. And they need to pump the brakes in the worst way. Jacksonville right now currently in first place in the AFC South because of the tiebreaker that they have against Indianapolis. And for the Jaguars and Colts, to me, that is not important. That is a monumental game in order for them to stop the bleeding, considering they started off 7-1 and since then have lost 3 or 4. You also have Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Now, listen, this is not the same rivalry that we've seen dating back over the last 20-some-odd years. This isn't the Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, Haloti Ngata, Ed Reed on the Ravens side, to where the Steelers, the James Harrison, Troy Polamalu, James Farrier, Lamar Woodley, those games are long gone. Now, it's still a rivalry, of course, and I'm sure there'll be some punishing hits come Sunday, but it's not going to resemble anything of what we saw there on the days that Ben Roethlisberger was at quarterback. And, those were just fierce games. But that is a game where both teams more so the Steelers not playing well, and even with the Ravens, who had won 5 in a row before losing their last Thursday night to the Bengals, who knows who's going to come out of that game alive? Lamar obviously compromised a little bit with his injuries. Steelers, I look at this game, I would not be surprised if the Steelers bounce back. I really don't. It almost resembles the game prior to the Colt game where they were so bad. And what was that week? Because remember, they were 7-1, and the Steelers going into that game, I believe, were 4-3, and they won that game. And I had a feeling they were going to do well. Now, mind you, the game was at home, but I think that was the Charger game. Was that the Charger game the week before? I know all these games are now like a big mishmash in my brain. But listen, as bad as they were Sunday against the Bills, I think they can rebound. Now, I don't know if they're going to win the game. It's going to be close. If they can turn the ball over, which is always imperative in these games. And that's the thing. When the Steelers are able to turn the other team over, they've actually played well. And when they don't, forget about it. And that could go for any team. I get that. But for the Steelers in particular, because they're second? I believe they're second in the NFL in takeaways. So that will go a long way as far as them winning on Sunday. And then you have the Houston-Kansas City game, which is the Sunday night game, a good one at that. And Houston has not fared well in Kansas City over the years, whether it be regular season or playoffs. And how I look at it is that Kansas City, they lose this game, they're done. They're 6-6. They can't go a game under 500. And we've talked about this a million times over with the tiebreaker scenario. Now, if they beat Houston, that would bode well for them in the tiebreaker because Houston is at 7-5. And if Kansas City wins, they'll have the same record. And, of course, the tiebreaker advantage over Houston. But they still will be on the outside looking in as far as the playoffs go because they have all those teams ahead of them, whether it be right now the Colts. And even though they have the tiebreaker against the Colts, but the Colts do have the better record as of right now. In fact, they have a 2-game lead on the Chiefs at this very moment. But whether it be Buffalo, whether it be Jacksonville, whether it be the Chargers, it doesn't matter. They lose out on tiebreakers to those teams, at least right now, because they still have to play the Chargers down the road. And they also have Denver, but they're not going to catch Denver for the division. They're already 4 games behind them when you think about it. So that's what you have there with the Sunday night games. So you have those games. Then you have the fringe games, which look pretty good. Chicago, Green Bay, I mean, that's a highlight game of the day where with that tie, it does ruin Green Bay's tie. It does ruin the chance of tiebreakers down the road because whether Chicago or Green Bay wins and whomever wins that, let's say even if they split, all right, fine. But because of that tie, it does put a wrinkle to where Green Bay has that safety net. They don't have to worry about, let's say if they do get swept by the Bears, it doesn't matter. If they have a better record by a half game, meaning that, let's say, for argument's sake, if the Bears end up, we'll just say 12-5. How about that? If they're 12-5, or I should say, is that right? 12-5-17. Trying to make sure I do my math correctly. And if the Packers end up 12-4-1, well, guess what? The Packers will win the division because of that tie that they had. So that's one of the things that you're not going to like down the rest of this stretch here where because the Packers and Bears played twice here over the last 5 weeks, those games, although they matter, but it's not going to really matter as far as who's going to win a division because whoever has the least amount of losses, because they can have the same amount of wins, but because the Packers will have 4 losses, let's say if they do end up 12-4-1 and the Bears are 12-5, well, there you go. 12-4-1 obviously beats 12-5, so therefore you have a scenario where the Packers are going to win the division. So that's a big game. You also have the Monday night game is Philadelphia and the Chargers, but you'll worry about that on Monday. And there's one other game of note, to a lesser degree, only because I'm sure that people are going to look at what Buffalo did to Pittsburgh on Sunday, like, oh, are the Bills back? I don't think they are. To me, that is an indictment on how awful the Steelers were. I give the Bills credit. I mean, they ran roughshod over that Steelers defense on top of them only giving up 7 points. But the Steelers offense, please, it's a far cry from the offense that we saw, even going back to 2017 with the killer bees of Ben Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. And not that that team won anything, but you get where I'm coming from. And then the Bengals, who are 2 games behind the Ravens and Steelers in the division. Now, one of those 2 teams are going to win. So they'll still be 2 games behind as far as the division goes, but one of those teams will come back to the pack. And I'm sure they probably want Pittsburgh to lose only because Baltimore still has to go to Green Bay. They still have to go to Pittsburgh, which who knows? Pittsburgh could still be alive for division at that point. And they do have to go to Cincinnati. So right now, the Steelers in the division are what? 2-1? Because they beat the Browns, they beat the Bengals, and also lost to the Bengals, and they still have the 3 games left. And then the Ravens, they swept Cleveland and lost to the Bengals. So they also still have 3 games left. So, and the Bengals in the division are 3-1 because the last 2 games they have are home to Cleveland and Baltimore. So their division record is actually pretty good. So although they're 4-8 and their only shot to make the playoffs is going to be the AFC North, but that game in Buffalo is going to be interesting to see if Joe Burrow with a mini bye, because remember they played a week ago today, and they've had success playing in Buffalo over the years, especially in that playoff game, as you saw, that divisional playoff game, now 3 years ago. So that's also a game that will be on people's radar to see whether or not that they're going to hang in there as far as the divisional race goes. But NFL is going to be intriguing. So that's what we have there on the podcast. I'm going to lead off with those games in particular and break them down and get into that. College football is going to be same old, same old. And what I mean by that is that we're going to have to wait until Sunday night when the selection committee is going to choose the final 12 teams for the playoff. And the argument's going to be, is it Notre Dame, Miami, or even Alabama? Which one of those 3 teams are going to be in or out? Now, if Alabama loses, even though with 3 losses, and even though with the wins that they've had on their schedule, Bio, my man, what is happening? Talking about a little college football as I started with the NFL, and that's what's going to be on the podcast to start the big games, the teams that are going to try to stay alive heading into Week 15. That's the theme there. But it's Notre Dame, Miami, and all that depends on what happens with that BYU-Texas Tech game. Because if BYU wins, one of those 2 teams are going to be out. And I understand people are going to look at Notre Dame as them being the brand Notre Dame, but there's going to be a faction of people in South Florida that are going to say, wait a second. Miami beat Notre Dame in that first game of the year back in August. So doesn't that account for anything? Well, it does, but Miami also playing a weak conference, and not that Notre Dame's schedule is great either, because even though they lost to Miami and Texas A&M, who will be a part of the playoff, but when you beat the likes of Purdue and Navy and who are some of the other teams that they beat along the way? Stanford. I understand USC, and I understand USC is good, but it's not as if the Fighting Irish's schedule was a gauntlet, to say the least. But, yeah, we're going to see what happens there. And the conference championships don't really mean anything unless you're in Indiana because you want to win a title. And I'm sure that will mean a lot for that school considering how far they've come here just over the last 2 years under the head coach of Kurt Cignetti and, of course, Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback. But I don't know if Ohio State, they're going to take the game seriously, and I'm sure they're going to do their best to show who is the best team in the Big Ten. And, of course, you have Alabama, Georgia, where even if Alabama or Georgia loses, they'll still make the playoff depending on what BYU does, I think. Because if Texas Tech wins, we know Texas Tech is going to be in. So it's just a matter of it's going to be Notre Dame or Miami. But BYU and Alabama lose, that's where it can really be interesting. Tatsuya, what's going on? Welcome aboard. Good to see you guys here. So that's what you have with the college. We'll keep an eye on that, as you know, as we get towards Monday's podcast. Then I want to talk some NBA. the two storylines of note, we talked about it a little bit yesterday with CP3. Does he latch on to another team? I know one guy that I know who was on Sirius XM radio on the NBA channel. He said maybe the Rockets. I don't know if the Rockets want and Ime Udoka. They're going to want to play a little bit more defense. And I understand it's not as if Chris Paul's going to play 35 minutes a game. But yeah, I didn't know about that. And I get it. He's going to try to go to a place where he could get a ring and try to end his career maybe as a champion, albeit as a part-time player. So I'll talk about that. But the other thing I want to talk about is Giannis Antetokounmpo, where reports have come out that he is going to meet with the front office to discuss a possible new landing spot for him. And I know one of the reports over the summer was that he'd like to come to New York to be a Knick. And that would be interesting because from what I've read here, they've already had pieces in place where it would be Giannis and who's the other person? Oh, and OG Anunoby. No, I'm sorry. It's Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, the first pick, or the Knicks pick in 2026, their first pick, for Giannis. And who's the other guy that's supposed to bring back? Another guy with a big contract. I don't think it's Bobby Portis. It's eluding me right now. It's Giannis and another player. I got to look at that report, but that's what you're hearing so far. Tatsuya. Jay, I found a funny story for you. The Olympic hockey rink is 4 feet short. Yeah, I didn't see that. Yeah, that it's actually going to be shorter. We also got to remember, too, once upon a time, when games were played in the old Boston Garden, that rink was actually shorter than the regulation 200 by 85. I forgot what the dimensions were in the old Boston Garden. And not that they were drastic. It wasn't like it was 190 by 60. But, yeah, I remember that the Boston Garden was shorter. Now, granted, you said it's 4 feet shorter. So I wonder if that means it's probably at 196 because you're going, if you're thinking shorter, you're thinking the length, not the width. And I think with the Boston Garden, it was more the width than the length. So, but yeah, I did see that. And I know the Olympics are now what? If you do the breakdown, it's about 2 months away. Doesn't it start around this time in February? I want to say it does. And what's weird, the Olympics start, I believe, well, let me think, double check this. I got to look it up, but I believe the Olympics start, and then the Super Bowl is that weekend. Whereas, you know, NBC, who hosts the Olympics on their network and Peacock, etc., but the Super Bowl is on NBC. So, yeah, it's weird. I guess obviously they're not going to show any of the Olympics the night of the Super Bowl, or really the whole day when you think about it, because the Super Bowl coverage starts at what? Pre-game is at 2 o'clock. And, yeah, you can forget about the Olympics that day. You're going to have to watch it on Peacock for those who are into the Olympics. But, yeah, that is pretty weird how the rink is going to be short. And who knows what that means for teams that have a lot of speed. Now, when you think about the old Boston Garden, you think about how those rugged and how rough those teams were. So, and of course, the guys that skate then certainly don't skate the way they do today. I mean, today, these guys are literally, I mean, they're speed skaters. They're like Eric Heiden on skates. But no, it's a good one there, Tatsuya. I like that. But, yeah, NBA with Giannis, now that it's out there that he not wants to, but the options for him leaving. But yesterday he had to exit the game early in the first quarter with a calf injury. Now, who knows what the extent of that is? He was sitting on the court for quite some time, did go off on his own power, gingerly, I might add. But, yeah, that could really put a wrinkle on any trade right now for Giannis if he's going to be out for any significant amount of time. And they do have time. The trade deadline, I believe, is February 5th, so it's not as if they have to get rid of him yesterday. So, but something to keep in mind with that injury, because if that's something that is going to be nagging or crop up, and we all know, players that have had calf injuries, I hate to say it, but they sometimes could lead to an Achilles tear. And could you imagine the Knicks trading for Giannis and then something like that happens? That would that'd be disastrous. So, and it would also be typical Knicks when you think about it. But yeah, I'll touch on that. NHL is actually rather quiet. I know you had a big injury there for the Stars with Tyler Seguin a couple nights ago. So you got that. And I talked about Colorado being the best team in the sport with only one loss in regulation. And they're actually in town over the next couple of nights at the Garden tonight to play the Rangers. And then they play Saturday afternoon. No, that's a lie. They play the Islanders tonight out at UBS. And then Saturday afternoon at the Garden against the Rangers in an afternoon tilt. And then they go to Philadelphia for Sunday afternoon. So Colorado, for those who live in the tri-state area, could go get to see Nathan McKinnon, who right now is the MVP of the league. 22 goals, 46 points. And I was actually surprised to see the runner-up in points in the NHL right now. And you would think, it's like, oh, who could it be? Is it Connor McDavid? Is it Leon Draisaitl? Is it Kapro Kaprizov? Is it, I mean, go through a million names. But second in points in the NHL is Macklin Celebrini. Who is that guy? Yes, Macklin Celebrini, who if Val was on, he'd be jumping up and down. He was the number one overall last year of the San Jose Sharks. So I was actually surprised to see Celebrini up there as far as points go. So that's your NHL. And then the baseball, just for you, Tatsuya. I'll wrap up with that because we have the winter meetings and all the big free agents. Will it be a very active week down in Orlando where, and we all know who the free agents are, from Pete Alonso to Alex Bregman to Cody Bellinger to Kyle Tucker. I mean, you got some big names there that are on the free agent list. And then as far as the pitchers go, Framber Valdez. I'll get your bio. Framber Valdez. You know about Edwin Diaz. And the like. I know I'm missing another pitcher who's out there. Let me see. I know I had checked out the list to be ready. What's going on, laptop? All right. Yeah, as you take a look at the list off the top of my head. Well, not off the top of my head anymore, because if I'm going to check. Come on, JAYREELZ, get with it. Yeah, Ranger Suarez. Pete Fairbanks is a guy that I actually like from the Rays. I didn't realize he was a free agent. Mets should go after him. They should have signed Diaz and signed Fairbanks to be the eighth inning guy instead of Devin Williams. Yeah, Eugenio Suarez and JT Realmuto, Bo Bichette, I gotta forget him. Kyle Schwarber, of course, we talked about him yesterday. So yeah, there's a lot of good players on the right for the taking. So we'll see how that goes. So I'll touch on that. And that'll be my podcast. All right, Bio, what you got? I was up late last night watching my UCLA Bruins. 82-80, huh? Oh, you what? Be at the game Saturday, UCLA Oregon Conference play start. Yeah, nice. So you'll be at Pauley Pavilion. That's awesome, man. Going solo, taking the daughter, going with friends. Curious. Good for you, man. Yeah, I know. I got to get into the college basketball. I know Duke is 9-0, I saw. And who won the other day? That was, oh no, that was last week. I think when Arizona beat, was it Arkansas? Or was I thinking Calipari? Yeah, I got to think about that. Taking the daughter. Oh, nice, man. That's great. Good for you guys. Hope you enjoy. Have a great time. Pauley Pavilion. I'm sure all the retired numbers. That's going to be great. Oh, that's right. Yes, yes. Wow, the big 5-0. Oh, man, good for you, Bio. How you feeling about that? How you feeling about turning 50? I think we may have talked about this weeks ago on the live stream. Good for you, man. That's awesome. You don't know yet? Yeah, you want to wait till you get to tomorrow. You know what? I'll text you tomorrow and I'll see how you feel then. How about that? Yeah, 50, that's a big number, man. That is. I remember when I turned 50 and yeah, it was great. I embrace every birthday, man. Everyone. I've been embracing it for years. I'm not one of those be like, it's just another year. No, man. My old saying, as long as you keep counting, you're good. When you stop counting, obviously, no good. It hasn't hit me yet. I'm like, oh, good for you, man. Hey, excuse me. I understand for most men, I'll say that it hits different than women. Obviously, with women, when they get to, let's say, 50, and obviously the changes that they go through, and I know that's got to be difficult. Obviously, we'll never experience that. And I get it that women, as they get older, and it's messed up not to be whatever, but society in this day and age, if you're not young, if you're not beautiful, if you're not this and not that, when you get older, it's almost as if you're discarded, whatever, and that sucks. Because as a man, when we age, and if let's say we age gracefully, it's like, oh, look at him, he looks distinguished, looks what. Whereas with a woman, it's like, oh yeah, she's getting old, and yeah, certain body parts are sagging and whatever. But it's, yeah, us guys, listen, it's not like we got it easy either. But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's almost, I won't say almost, but it's more accepted when a man gets older. It's like, oh, look at him, he's mature, he's distinguished, etc. Whereas a woman, it's just like, yeah, I think it's messed up. But when I turn 50, brings midnight bathroom trips, can't eat anything too rich, my eyes always blurry. The hair tattoo, wow. Well, yeah, I've had midnight bathroom trips, yes. Can't eat anything too rich, I know. And that's the one thing, which I don't mind because I know, as I've said over and over, I've changed my diet a lot over the years. And eyes always blurry. Yeah, I had to get glasses last year. So I've actually been wearing glasses now for over a year because I got them last November. Hey, you too, Bio? Look at that. I know that's the one thing. My vision has always been good. Certainly from I'm more far-sighted than nearsighted, but I guess over the last, more so like over the last 3-4 years, because I'm looking at screens all the time. And we all do. I get it. Phones, laptops, monitors. But with me, yeah, it's really bad. I mean, I don't have this monitor on, but I could read from this monitor from this distance. But it's really like the phone stuff. And even on my laptop, when I'm doing stuff or editing, it's not too bad. I don't really need to wear glasses. It's when I have the phone. And yeah, thankfully I don't have to do this with the glasses to look down, which is crazy. But yeah, man, getting old, and that's the one thing. And a lot of people I've seen on various social media posts, getting old is a blessing. Now I understand it's what's up here and what's in your heart that really matters. And what I mean by that is, as you get older, I understand we're set in our ways and we do things a certain way, whatever. But there are those that, in this process and evolving as we get older, and hopefully for all of us, we still open our lens. And I understand we are set in our ways and we know our likes, dislikes, etc. But you still want to open up the lens of life. And it's one of those things where that's what we should be doing as we get older. Not going backwards, not saying, oh, I'm going to eat my steak and potatoes or my bacon and eggs. And not that there's anything wrong with eating or not eating that, but there are some, as you get older, like you said, stuff that's too rich. So whether that means certain sweets that you may have eaten, or yeah, you want to stay away from red meat, or yeah, not drink as much if you're a drinker. Now, I'm not trying to say you got to, at the bar every night, but hey, it's a Sunday, you're at home, you got a six pack, whatever, great. But as you get older, you got to curtail that. Like those Sundays that maybe you went to the bar to watch football and the pictures, etc. It's not one of those things where, oh, well, I've been doing this for now 30 years. Nah, you got to find a way to put a pause on that. So, just me. It is a blessing. Yes, it is. I remember you, Just Me, from Boston. Saw you here on Monday. Welcome back. To survive that long is a big deal. People look at older people. Yeah, absolutely. And buy you drink Olipop now. That's cool. I like that. But Just Me, you're right. And that's the thing. Everything you said, you hit right on the head. And that's the one thing I've embraced it, man, as I've gotten older. And Lord knows I've shared a little bit with you, and not that I'll unpack a lot now, but yeah, my 40s were rough, man. And the things that I did to myself, from a psychological, spiritual, emotional, with my previous marriage and the things that I did then and how I just sabotaged that and trying to find myself in my mid 40s to my late 40s, that when I hit 50, I was embracing it with open arms. Now I still had to make those changes and still have to do the work. But yeah, man, it was when I turned 50, it was, yeah, I was ready. And so far, my 50s have treated me pretty well. I got it. Listen, I'm alive and breathing first and foremost, but just trying to do the right thing, be more mindful, be more present, all those things that we take for granted or think that, that they're going to come just like anything else. Now we got to work for that sucker. So, Jay, what is happening? I can't drive at night without glasses now. Part of getting old. I hate you, Jay. Oh, I know that's rough, man. And thankfully, I don't have to drive with glasses at night, but I'm sure that day's coming. Chocolate and spicy triggers my reflux. Oh, really? All right, Tatsuya, I got a question. Fishing Angel, good morning to you. All right, Tatsuya, I got a question. Now, if you eat chocolate, what? I'm not like Snickers or whatever. What if you had dark chocolate? I'm sure that probably triggered even more because, like, if you're having like Snickers or something, I'm sure that maybe even trigger it more because it's like so much more sugar. But if you had dark chocolate, which is actually better for you, which doesn't have a lot of sugar, and I know it's bitter, what if you have that? And in spicy foods, I'm curious to what spicy food are you referring to? Is it Thai? Is it um yeah, Mexican isn't really spicy, but I'm only eating 90% chocolate. Oh, so you're eating the real, yeah, that's like, oh. And I've grown to like dark chocolate as I've gotten older. When I was a kid, I hated it. And yeah, I mean, that sucker is bitter, but I prefer that than buying, yeah, like I haven't had Snickers. I can't even tell you the last time I had Snickers or chocolate like that, milk chocolate. Um, but yeah, no, but that's good though. Sriracha makes my stomach go crazy. Oh, I love sriracha too, man. All right, pushing up. Hey, there you go. Jay, that's a good one. I can't have nuts or dried fruit. It kills my stomach, Fishing Angel. Oh, that's interesting. You can't have nuts or dried fruit. Yeah, the thing is, I love nuts and seeds. I eat pumpkin seeds, walnuts, cashews, almonds. I love all that stuff. Or dried fruit. So you can't do raisins or what's another dried fruit? Yeah, no, depending on where you go, they have dried mango. Yeah, I love sriracha tatsuya. It's the best. Yeah, thankfully I can eat just about anything. Um, there isn't one thing that I eat that it upsets my stomach. I mean, I try to stay away from dairy. I had to get my gallbladder out of the age of really? Holy shit. Wow. Fishing angel, jeez. Now, I'm curious, did you have stones? Or was it a situation where you had stones and then got the gallbladder removed? Or I'm curious. Yeah, the only thing I've had in reference to stomach surgery is when I had my appendix removed. That was when 2008. Yeah, that sucker. I tell you, if you've never had appendicitis, this is how you'll know. If you have a like a burning feeling in your belly button, it doesn't feel like a stomach ache. It almost feels like if somebody's doing this to your stomach, like they're putting a screw in there. And it starts at the belly button. And then what happens is that it starts there and then it moves to the left side of your body. And that's where it gets dangerous. So if you get the symptom, and maybe it can be different for everybody, but this was my experience. Because when I felt that, I'll never forget, it was a Friday, I think it was September 12th, 2008. And I'll never forget, I was at the job and I ate lunch. And then afterwards, I started to feel that pain. And I was like, damn, I never get a stomach ache from me. I forgot what I ate that day, but it was one of those things where I felt it and I was just like, yeah, but this isn't a stomach ache. This is something different. And then that night, I went home and course, at the time, my ex-wife, I said to her, I said, listen, I got this pain in my stomach. I don't know what the hell this is from, so on and so forth. And I told her, I said, I think I need to go see a doctor. And she goes, all right, well, let's go. And that night, I went to get a CAT scan, whatever. And then the doctor came back and told me, he said, yeah, you have appendicitis. We're going to have to leave you here overnight just to do further testing, etc. And they did do so. And then that morning, I got it removed. And I'll never forget, they wheeled me in, and the room was bright as hell. I mean, it was this white, pristine. And then the next thing you know, they were like, all right, count from 10 backwards. I was like, 10, 9, 8, and I was out. And then got it done, and that was it. Nope, had to get the gallbladder removed, had no choice. Wow. It was only working at 20%. Jeez. Man, I can't even imagine. And at 26, too, that's young. Wow, Fishing Angel, jeez. But how are you feeling today? Does that, I mean, does that affect you in any way? When, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Does it affect you, like, say, if you have to go to the bathroom or whatever? I mean, it's a gallbladder. It's not like it's your, um, I'm just curious. And that's the one thing I have to say this. I've always been one, as I've gotten older, even going back to, all right, I don't want to say freak you guys out, but here you go. Let's talk about this for a second. I've always been one that I've never feared my health. And not because, I'm in great shape. That had nothing to do with that. But I've always wanted to know, like, hey, what's wrong with me? I want to get it done. I was never one of those guys like, oh, well, yeah, my back hurts, all this. Not to say that if I have a head cold, oh my God, I got to run to the doctor. No, I'm not that extreme. But I'll give you two examples. Like last year when I went to visit my son outside of Orlando, and I went for a run, and I turned my ankle and landed on my foot. Later on, I found out I had a stress fracture. Now, mind you, it was coincidental because I was down there July of last year. And when I came back at the end of July, I had an appointment on July 30th. So now listen, I would have went to see a doctor anyway, but so I had it diagnosed, et cetera. And little did I know, I had a stress fracture in my foot. But now this is where we're going to go even deeper. Back in the 90s, mid to late 90s, how could I say this? Yeah, I was involved with a girl at the time, but of course I was stupid. And not to say that I was all over the place or like with various women, but I wasn't as responsible as I should have been in my relationships. Let's put it that way. And an opportunity came up to where, you know what? I want to go get a test to see whether or not I'm HIV positive. Because I figured, hey, I don't want to be that guy to be like, I don't want to know. It's like, listen, if I know that I've been behaving a certain way, and especially if I was involved with somebody, I need to know. And thankfully, that was in 1997. And when I took that, and I'll be honest, I was nervous as hell. But when it came back negative, I was like, all right, cool. And then over the years, and since then, I've taken it now, 28 years? Thankfully, knock on wood. Now, of course, now at my age, I'm married. There's no way on God's green earth that I'm even remotely thinking about somebody else or somebody outside the marriage or involved. No, please. Take me out in the back and just put me out the pasture if that's the case. But yeah, it was one of those things that and the reason why I bring that up is because even going back then, when I was 97, I was 28 years old. I was conscious of, I got to make sure that I'm good here. So that's why I don't care. And that's why I watch what I eat and whatever. And that's not to say that, I'm razor sharp. Of course, I'll have a cocktail or beer or two, or depending on the type of sweets, but I'm not eating like Twinkies or Oreos. I mean, come on. To me, if I'm going to have something that's good, I want something that's good. Like if I go to a bakery and I see a piece of cake, I'll have something like that. I'm not eating something that's wrapped and it's packaged that's been sitting on a shelf for 6 months. I'm not doing that. So, let me see the comments here. Certain things she cannot eat, it messes her up. Oh, is that right? Oh, yeah, with the gallbladder. No, I can see that. So probably certain fried foods. I would think. Yeah, I have to constantly go to the bathroom after I eat. Oh, geez. Yeah, it's got to be rough. I mean, ugh. And that's the other thing too. Now that I think about it, bio, it's always good to get tested. Absolutely. If you haven't done it, you're gonna have to go for a colonoscopy. Get that. People are starting to say you got to do it as early as 40. I got one when I turned 50, and I'll never forget. You have to fast like almost 36 hours prior to that, and you have to drink like clear Gatorade, which I didn't want. I wanted to actually drink coconut water, but they said no, that's not good. Only because of the enzymes in the coconut water that it's got to be clear. And listen, I know I'm gonna have to do that in another 3 years. No, 4 years. But yeah, you have to fast. You can't eat anything. And I'll never forget when I went to get screened and the doctor saying to me all these different questions, and he asked me my diet, and I told him what my diet was, and he's like, "Oh, well, what do you do for protein and B12 and all this other stuff?" And I was like, "Nah, hey, I eat what I eat." And he goes, "All right, well, if your colon comes back clean, I won't see you in 10 years, but if there is something, we're gonna have to keep an eye on it." So sure enough, went in there, got it done. I went to the doc. What's the deal? He goes, "I'll see you in 10 years." I said, "That's what I want to hear." So I got some testing to do myself. Yeah, absolutely, man. Oh, is that right? Jay, an amazing cook. So who does all the cooking there? Because Lord knows I do all the cooking in my household, which I don't mind, but there are times where it's just like, yeah, I mean, I just don't want to cook. And thankfully, it's not as if I'm making like five course five course meals or anything like that, but still. Oh, here we go. Everyone comes to Michigan for the UCLA game. Oh yeah, I'll cook for everyone. Wow, I love it. Yeah, and J Rod, I know you listen, and my apologies. I know I sent you a text a little bit prior to the start of this live stream. Yeah, I thought I responded to you yesterday, but of course I did not. I had typed out, I just never hit send, big dummy. Because at that time, I know you said that to me mid-afternoon, around 4:40 or so. Yeah, because I was walking the dog at that time, and then I was also what was I doing at the time? Yeah, I was walking the dog. I was texting the wife because I was outside. It wasn't as cold as I thought it was. So back and forth with her, and then of course I'm trying to respond to you, and I thought I had sent and I didn't. So my apologies. Yeah, I was giving the wife an update because our puppy, who's behind here, although she's relatively healthy, but not to get into it, but yeah, we were trying to watch her number two. Let's put it that way, because it hadn't been as healthy as it should be. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man. That'd be awesome if we all get to go out there. Now, listen, I don't know. We'll probably have to stay in a hotel because I don't know if you're going to have several people crashing Clio, Michigan. So I have a bunch of health issues, but I don't let it bring me down. It makes me stronger. Good for you, Fishing Angel. A bunch of health, really? Jeez. I know. I'm sitting here just reading that. I'm curious. Listen, of course, you have to get into it, Fishing Angel. I understand. I know. Obviously, Jay is dealing with his own, the neck back, all that. But that's good. I'm glad it's making you stronger and it doesn't let you down. That's a good thing. I commend you. Good for you. And Bio, luckily pretty healthy right now. Knock on wood, yes. Let's do that. Good for you. Yeah, same here. I got to get out and run at some point today. Jay, I cook for 20 years for a living. I don't cook it. Oh, is that right? Oh, you're a damn good cook. Oh, man, no, that sounds good. And Fishing Angel was a damn good cook, too. All right, I love it. All right, I cook 3 meals a day for 379 people, 6 days a week for 20 years. Wow. Holy crap, look at that. 3 meals a day for 370, 6 days a week for 20 years. I almost feel like that's in a school somewhere. And you may have brought that up. Man, that's awesome. I'm tall and skinny, so that works for me. Bob, how tall are you? I'm curious. Oh, wait, this is Hashimoto's thyroid eye. Oh, geez. Autoimmune disease. Wow. Oh, old folks home. That's right. Yes. I should know that. My bad there, Jay. But fish again, autoimmune, huh? Jeez. 6'2", 185. Man, you guys are taller than me. Because I believe Jay's 6'4". You're 6'2". I'm 5'10", around 177 right now. Yeah, I got to hit the weights, man. That's what I got to do. I got to bulk up a little bit. Nah, good for you guys, man. 6'4", 195. Look at that. Guys are monsters. The novice. How you feeling about your Eagles? I want to know. 210 was your heaviest? That's interesting. Fishing Angel, 5'5". Please, my wife is my height. And she'll even say some days, like, no, I'm taller than you. So, and she's 5'10". 5'5". No, that's good height. 113. Wow. Nice. Bio, 210 was your heaviest. You know what my heaviest was? Now that I think about it? Oh, man. And I have a picture. It's on my Instagram, but you got to go back in the files. I was in Hawaii, May 2010. The novice, I feel good. We just need, excuse me. Yeah, 3 wins is what? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because Dallas, they're going to lose at least one game down the stretch. They could lose tonight. But, yeah, hopefully you guys don't go into a skid the way you did 2 years ago when you were 10-1 and then you, lost 5 of 6 and then lost to that playoff game in Tampa. So hopefully that's not the case. But, no, that's good, as you should. Monday night against the Chargers, your next game. But, yeah, as I was saying, as far as May 2010 when I was in Hawaii, and I ate like, oh, man, that trip, I ate like if it was my last days on Earth. And in one of the pictures, it was actually the last day I was in Hawaii, in Oahu. I was standing holding a drink in my hand. You could see my face was just swollen and belly, and I was pushing 230. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me think for a second. Yeah, I think when I got back, it was May 7th of 2010. Yeah, I want to say I was about 229 point something. And yeah, it was bad. And that's when I turned it around. It's funny because then I started the diet then. And then a month later, I got introduced to, I don't know if you're familiar with the workout Insanity, Sean T. Somebody from my old job introduced that to me, and that turned my whole life around. At that point, there was no turning back. All right, Jay, hold on. I gained 40 pounds after I stopped taking opioids. I was a twig when I was on pain. Oh, wow. No, good for you, man. Man, I can't even imagine. And wait, and you weigh what? I know you had this up here, 195. So you were 155, 6'4"? Jeez. Yeah, Lions are in trouble tonight. Too many players. I know no Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah, Frank Ragnow. How about that? Failed his physical. Ugh. Used to be 5'7", but shrunk. I know. I feel like I'm shrinking too. That's not good. Herbert injury to the non-throwing hand should help. Yeah, it should. And they say he may play, and he got surgery on that. So, yeah, who knows? A few hits. Maybe not to his hand, but maybe a few sacks. He's got to brace himself. Who knows? I think I'm 5'10" at least. Yeah, you're about that. Yeah, you're about that height. I know I haven't seen you. Jeez, last time I saw you. Damn. When was the last time I saw you, Denovis? Oh, I know the last time I saw you. It just popped in my brain. Lehman College, Diaz Zamero. What was that, 2018, 2019? Yeah, somewhere around there. So it's been 6, 7 years since I last seen you, man. I got it. Pig roast the day before Michigan UCLA game. Oh, you're going to do that? Shh. Wow. That'd be something. But it's just going to be, unless you're going to invite other people, I don't know. But yeah, if you're going to just have a pig roast, you're going to have pig for weeks. I was 98 pounds at the age of 14. Wow. 98. And you went out 113, you said? Let me scroll up and see that. 113, yeah. 98. 14. Maybe you're still young. You were still growing at that time. Yeah, no Decker either. That's right. No Glasnow, no St. Brown. Lions lose. No Arnold. Kirby. Yeah, I hope they win tonight. And some tells me I think they will win because they're desperate. They know they have to win tonight. And the Cowboys are due to have a bad game. They played well here. But pig roast the day before the game. Hey, man, that sounds like it's going to be fun. Yeah, when that schedule comes out, we'll see. And I know it's going to be, early October, hopefully. So, but yeah, that's what I got, people. That's what's happening. And this weekend is going to be low key. I know Saturday night I'll be out during the Big Ten game. Somebody's doing a holiday party at one of my wife's friend's house. So we're going to go there. Lions can't rush the football. They lose. Yeah, I know. Jahmyr Gibbs. Lions will run the ball. No, absolutely. Gibbs and Montgomery. Yeah, they need monster games if they have any shot. My weight goes up and down. I could be 117, go down to 113. All right, but it's in that range though, right? So that's not too bad. It's not like you're going, 125 and then like to 105. But still. Now, fishing age, I'm curious. Do you exercise? Yeah, I'm not trying to say whether you go for walks or, I don't know, you may have a stationary bike or treadmill. Within 2 days, it's nerve-wracking. Oh, you mean as far as the weight? Yeah, I can see that. I will keep on the Michigan schedule as soon as they release the dates for Big Ten games. I'll be on that. Oh, I know it. Listen. Yeah, is that right? Fishing game? Okay. Yeah, it's got to be. I can't imagine. These. Oh, man. I know it's rough. You have a high metabolism? So that's interesting. So I understand that you can't eat a lot of certain things based on the gallbladder, but you're the type that, hey, I can eat ice cream, this and that. And obviously you look like you can run a marathon. I know it's weird with me too, but the thing is I fast. Yeah, I usually don't eat until 12. So that's why my metabolism's good, which isn't good either because my problem is portion control. I always eat big portions. I love to eat in that regard. You love your junk food? All right, what in particular? I'm curious. Like, what's the one thing, or a couple of things? I'm sure it's not just one thing. Like, what is it? Are you more of a savory chips girl? Are you more of a sweets? Is there something that you absolutely have to have? Whether I don't know, certain candies, certain uh, cupcakes, whatever. Yep, candy. She's like a crackhead with candy bars. Also, are you a Snickers? Are you a I don't know, Milky Way? God, I haven't had a candy bar. What was the last time I had a candy bar? Well, I know there's this one candy called Unreal, which I've had, which I love. They have this dark chocolate with coconut. Oh my god, I love coconut, as you know. That you got to find like in a particular health food store. I have to have 2,000. Oh, I have to. Well, you said I have to have 2,000. I was like 2,000 candy bars. I was like, wait a second. I have to have 2,095 calories a day. So that's what you have to eat every day. At least that, correct? Oh, Three Musketeers. That's your favorite? Yeah, I used to like Three Musketeers. But the one thing I don't like about Three Musketeers is that it's just the chocolate and the nougat part. Where Milky Way is chocolate, nougat, caramel. And then Snickers is chocolate, nougat, caramel, and nuts. And I know the nuts you can't really have, so I can understand that. Correct, yes. J. Rod Amani Chuno was my favorite college football player back in the. Oh, look at that. Yes, New York Giant. Yes, won a Super Bowl with the Giants in '07. And speaking of which, I don't have my glass here, which would have been water. Well, let's see for Monday. I got a ton of oranges. I got a juice. I got a pineapple, some carrots. So yeah, I need to slice those and juice those suckers. My favorite is Laffy Taffy. Oh God, I haven't had Laffy Taffy ages. Yeah, my favorite candy back in the day. You know what I used to love, and I know a lot of people are like, ew, whatever. I used to love Chunky bars, which was chocolate, raisins, and nuts. I don't know why. I just love that. And you know what else was good too? I know Leslie's Crunch I used to love, and the $100,000 bars. Fruits and veggies are my favorite snack. All right, now you're talking. Speaking my language. Choco Taco. Yeah, that's the ice cream, right? That's made by Good Humor. I think it was Good Humor. Yeah, fruits and veggies are my favorite. Oh yeah, fruit. Please, I could. And that's the one thing. If I don't eat before noon, I usually eat fruit in the morning. I can eat a whole box at once. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how many come in a box. I guess like 6, right? Yeah, those suckers got to be good. Oh, yeah, I used to love watching McCall's too, Bio. Yeah, what's McCall's were good also. I'll never forget when those first came out. Oh man, those suckers were good. Yeah, like that rice crispy, like with the chocolate, and yeah, that's good. Oh man, that is good. And you know what else I used to like too? But yeah, I couldn't even. Oof, I even tried eating that today. My teeth would probably rot. Skittles. Oh, when those first came out, I used to love Skittles. But oh yeah, I can't mess with that now. Ugh, forget it. Now I'm curious, Fishing Angel, when you go shopping, and Jay, I'm sure you go shopping too. Can you get tropical fruit? Meaning that, I'm not saying just apples, oranges, bananas. I mean, you can get those anywhere. But let's say if you wanted to get mangoes, papaya, um, hey, even coconut, maybe. Can you get that where you are? Rolos, yeah, rolls with the caramel. I remember those. Those are good too. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. All those candies. Let me see what else. Yeah, like Hershey's with almonds was good. I mean, that's classic. You can't go wrong with that. You know what I used to like too was a Mars bar. I don't even know if they still make those. Oh, star fruit they got. Oh, nice. Oh, that's good. Yeah, because how I look at it is too is that like the apples, bananas, oranges, they're great, and I'll eat those all the time. But yeah, you want to mix it up a little bit. So that's why I figured the tropical fruit you were able to mix it up, even though there's a ton of fruit. I mean, you go apples, oranges, bananas, grapes, cherries in season. I love cherry. Oh God, cherries I could eat. Forget it. Blueberries, raspberries, which those are the best for you because they don't have as the antioxidants and not as much sugar. But again, people always look to me when I talk about fruit. Oh, I'll have as much fruit as possible. Oh, but all that sugar. Yeah, but that's natural sugar. Your body needs that. When you think about your brain and brain health, the antioxidants from the blueberries. It's not table sugar. It's not refined. That's good stuff. Yes, they have all that fruit. Oh, that's good to know. Because not if, when we visit, just curious to know, we'll do an overhaul for some fruit. And let me see, maybe I'll yeah, I don't know if I'm able to carry that on the plane because there is liquid inside, or maybe they would. I'll bring you some coconuts. The coconuts that I drink, I'll bring you some. Oh man, that's the best water. Oh man, the best. 10:42. All right, I'm gonna sign off in a few minutes because yeah, I gotta get cracking on this podcast. But yeah, I can say and talk with you guys, my diehards, Reels rockers. I was thinking about that too, like what to call you guys. That sounds kind of corny. My rockers or Reels rockers sounds good. I can say, hey, what's up, rockers? From that movie, there's a movie called What's Up, Rockers? That's an independent movie. I think who directed that? Was that Larry Clark? Skateboarding film back in the mid 2000s. Yeah, now I want fruit. I have all fruit. Yeah, I got to go. As a matter of fact, I went food shopping the other day, but I didn't really get a ton of fruit because before that I did. All right, Bio. As always, brother, thanks so much for hopping on. Much appreciated. I like it. Yes, Fishing Angel. That's good. Good stuff. And I'll make sure we'll get a ton of fruit when we're out there. All right, guys. I guess the time has come. I will sign off for now. Whatever it is that you do for the rest of this day and into the weekend, enjoy, have fun. Always great to see you guys on here. Always a pleasure. And of course, I'll keep you guys posted on whatever else is happening in sports with the shorts, etc. And I got to respond to some of those comments. I know you guys have made some comments there. And I know I'm bad with that. I got to reach out to Brent. I got to see what he's up to. I've not heard from him. I hope he's okay. I know he said he was going through some family issues. Oh, not issues. That's too strong. But I guess just day-to-day busy stuff life with the family. Yes, you too, Fishing Angel. Yes, you too, Jay, Bio, Tatsuya, the Novice. Just Me was on here. I'm sure I don't know if they're still on here. Thank you, Fishing Angel. Awesome as always. And you are awesome as well as everybody who joins. You know that. So, yeah, enjoy your weekend. I'll see you guys Monday, podcast pregame, as always. So, until then, as I always like to say, on the flip, baby. Enjoy it, people. Much love as always.